Indiana Jones, It's a podcast about Indiana Jones. Every movie, 1 minute at a time. Indiana Jones Minute.
Welcome back to the Indiana Jones Minute. This is the podcast where we get to the heart of Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, one surprising Fight Club reference at a time. I'm Pete Mummert.
I'm Tom Taylor.
I'm Jerry Porter.
And today we're discussing Minute 117. We're getting real close, guys.
Oh, my God.
And Minute 117 begins with Director of Aerial Photography Jack Cooperman, ASC, and ends with Chief Henchman, not the guy I thought it was, Philip Tan.
Well, Tommy Short Round must have just blown his nose or something, because we have his theme song again.
Oh, God. You're right. I didn't even think of that. I'm so numb to it.
I love doing that to you.
And if you listen carefully, it sounds exactly like a scarecrow.
Yes. Yeah, didn't they dangle like a dead kid in front of the orchestra when they were playing? You can kind of see it in the background if you listen really closely. This movie will not stop terrifying me.
Well, speaking of terrifying, one of the early credits we get in this is visual effects produced at Industrial Light and Magic, Marin County. Is ILM still the gold standard in special effects like they were in the 80s?
That's a really good question. I mean, I guess, I think back then you could almost say they were the only game in town.
Yeah.
Like they were that far ahead of anybody else who was doing that kind of stuff. But like now there's like a ton of folks, so.
Yeah. And I don't remember who, was it Star Trek or somebody didn't get ILM for their special effects, and they were noticeably worse because of it.
Yeah, that was Star Trek 5.
Yeah.
Right.
It was like they were busy, and so, okay, we're going to end up with something subpar.
But even like Ghostbusters, which was the same year, they had like a bunch of, there was like Richard Edlund had his own place. I think he still does. He had his own thing that was, he had left ILM by then, had his own shop, and they did parts of the stuff for Ghostbusters. And like Ghostbusters, I think, was one of those movies where like a lot of different companies did it, like did different effects in the movie and stuff. So I guess, there were a bunch of people doing stuff out there. And if you look back on it now, it's like, there's an awful lot of matte lines, and boy, that didn't really fit right. And you can kind of tell that's an effect and stuff. But, at the time, maybe it all seemed like equally awesome.
That's one thing you got to think, too, is, what at the time was just mind-blowing. And you look at now, and that's the thing that surprised me about this movie is how much of it still stands up special effects-wise.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, I mean, there are a couple little goofy parts, but for the most part, like, I think it's actually pretty great. Like, the special effects still look pretty amazing, and maybe because so many of them are so tactile. I don't know. I'm
still blown away by that pseudo helicopter shot when they come out of the onto the cliff at the end of the mine chase. That's crazy.
Yeah. I was just gonna say, what is the best special effect shot in the movie, and what is the worst?
Well, I think the worst is maybe some of the blue screen stuff where
that's always tough.
Harrison Ford's climbing up the cliff, and you see his feet kind of dangling, and that it just does not look good.
Yeah.
And when they run out, there's that when they run out, and there's that almost helicopter shot when they run out on the cliff, and it looks incredible. And then they cut to these weird, like, blue screen figures kind of climbing up that looks just horrible.
Right.
And I think,
I know the worst effect in the movie.
Okay.
That stupid airplane crashing at the beginning.
Oh, yeah.
That's really bad.
That one, though, for me, has the sort of Empire Strikes Back charm, so it's...
Oh, sure. I mean, I love all the bad special effects. I think they're all great.
Yeah, but you're right. That
one's like just sort of really? Like you threw a plane at a hill. Like you're mad at your kid.
They threw a TIE fighter. No, I mean, I know. Oh, not even Keeper likes that one, do you, Keeps, huh?
Keeper gives a pause down?
Yeah, he gave a pause down just for that one,
right.
Yeah, pause down.
He should be giving his pause up to matte painting supervisor Michael Pengrazio. Again, we had some really fantastic matte paintings. He did a lot of matte paintings in Raiders.
That was
and here
amazing.
We got spectacular stuff.
Oh, and speaking of mattes, we get matte photography by a guy named David Fincher.
Yeah.
who no one has heard from since. He was just like a little Mac photography guy
Yep.
on this, and I think Jedi maybe, and some other Lucasfilm stuff.
Yep.
And now
disappeared
he's
from the face of the earth.
Yeah. Yeah, he tried to get some stuff off the ground, like Fight Club and The Game and
Seven, Gone Girl.
Benjamin Button and Gone Girl and like Alien 3. Nothing really connected with audiences, which is too bad. Poor guy. Zodiac, garbage, you know.
I think Jason on the Listeners Crusade posted that a few weeks ago. It just blew me away. I was like, what?
Oh, really?
Yeah, I didn't even know he was in. He was
Oh, yeah,
involved in this.
You know, I have a question about the special effect. You know, when the heart is ripped out and pulled out of the chest, Larry's chest, and because it's obviously not Willie's chest. What, you know, and it we said, you know, it kind of heals up, and it like the Larry's chest cavity closes really quickly. Was that bad special effects, or is that the power of Kali that's making it like super bloodless and really neat and clean and kind of like?
Oh, it's probably thinking you were making a PG movie and you couldn't get away with maybe the buckets of blood you would expect.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
I think that's the power of the Motion Picture Association of America.
I mean, that still happens now. My son keeps asking me, now, what's the most violent Marvel movie that I've seen? I'm like, Sam, they're all exactly the same. It's just people punching each other or stuff blows up and stuff. But then I always think, oh, Andy Serkis gets his arm ripped off in Captain America Civil War, Age of Ultron. But that is like completely bloodless. Like his arm goes flying off and he's like, ow, my arm. Why'd you do that? My arm. And he's just standing there. There's like no blood or anything. So that's like still a thing. You go, well, PG-13, we gotta do so much.
Alrighty.
And it might be good. I mean, we'll come back to their more credit names, but we've kind of danced around a little bit the whole PG-13 issue, but we haven't really gotten right down into it. But this was, you know, definitively the movie that caused the rise, or, you know, led to the implementation of the PG-13 rating.
Yeah, well, this and Gremlins, like in the same summer. Yeah.
Well, so my question is, was the movie actually rated PG-13?
No, this was rated PG. The first PG-13 movie was Red Dawn.
Okay, that's what I wanted to know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, which reminds me, do you guys know what you get when you cross Red Dawn with Blue Thunder? Purple Rain. Welcome to the 80s.
Totally.
George Lucas had a good quote about the whole PG-13 thing. He said, Temple of Doom was too gross to be PG, and it wasn't quite gross enough to be an R.
Yeah.
Which is true. Yeah. And then Paramount at the time like realized they were on pretty thin ice, and they actually put a warning in newspaper advertisements. And the warning said, this film may be too intense for younger children.
Isn't that like the regular... Isn't that like what the description of PG-13 is or something now?
Oh, maybe it is. Maybe they took that from their advertisement. I don't know.
Maybe.
But it's interesting because in Renzer's book, he talks about how at the time, even though, you know, I think some parents were really worried about it, most kids didn't at all seem to be grossed out by it and didn't really seem to find it unduly scary.
Yeah, I honestly think that whole thing is like, that was Reagan's America.
Yeah, I
and
think
like
you're right.
everybody was like, you know, Nancy Reagan was on different strokes telling people to say no to drugs and stuff, and it was very like safe and very 50s, and I think
that was the rise of like Satanism and like sacrificing babies on altars, and
you play Dungeons and Dragons, then you're ripping people's hearts out, and
Well, Tommy,
We're
are
all
you?
kids.
I mean, we've talked about this a lot, but did you have to apologize for anything, or did you stay up an extra 20 minutes one night? You know, after your son Sam watched Temple of Doom.
Wait, what?
I mean, you're like the, you know, you're the litmus test here. You got a kid.
Yeah.
What is he, 10? Yeah.
Oh, no.
I mean,
you know what's weird? I keep it. I've been very careful. Like I use myself at his age as the litmus test. Okay, I was 10 when I saw Raiders. And even then I was like, I don't know. I mean, there's like melting Nazis, and like even besides that, there's like, you know, Pat Roach with his face and everything, and the propeller and all this stuff, and like any of it, you know, like just Satipo with a spike through his head and stuff, and that stuff just rolls right off his back. He's like. He just thinks it's fun and cool. He doesn't even blink at it. And he's like, now what's the really gory part that you were going to... Like, I don't know. Did you think it was weird when those guys melted? He's like, oh, yeah, well, that was neat. So he'll probably kill me in my sleep at some point. I don't know. I had a good run.
But I think, you know, as a kid, like when I saw it as a kid, I didn't think it was that... I thought Gremlins was a lot worse.
Yeah, Gremlins is pretty grisly.
Yeah.
Gremlins is grisly for the darkness and the horribleness that is just the story in the town and the despicable people.
Jerry hates gremlins.
Gremlins is how Jerry found out there was no Santa Claus.
Exactly.
Gosh, I'm just randomly looking up. I was going to ask this, but I figured I'd look it up anyway. I think Poltergeist was PG
Yeah.
in
It
1982.
was. Yeah.
Holy cow.
It might be a good time to jump back into some of these people in the credits, like model shop supervisor Lauren Peterson, who also did a lot of work on Raiders. And I think he's probably most famous for his role as being the guy with the radar gun in the basket in Star Wars.
Oh, nice. Oh, he's our hero.
Yeah, that's amazing.
And, also effects creative consultant Phil Tippett. And he's the guy that came up with those little tiny water or those little air cannons to atomize the water in the mine tunnels.
That was genius.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why
pretty brilliant.
I didn't name that as the worst special effect. probably the best special effect.
And in that same scene, three people's names I'll mention: David Sosala, Randy Ottenberg, and Sean Casey, the stop motion technicians. And the fact that for however many years since this movie came out, I didn't even know it had stop motion until we started watching it 1 minute at a time.
Yeah.
I think that's really incredible work.
That was pretty brilliant. Oh, one of those stop motion guys was a Tom. There were 4 Toms in this minute.
Huh.
It's all about me, Tom. No Sams, no Jodies, but there's a Tom Smith, there's a Tom Saint Armand, who's a stop motion animation guy, Tom Rossiter, optical lineup, and Tom Hooper, negative cutter.
Hoopa.
So there. Hoopa.
Hoopa.
Tom Hoopa.
Hoopa cuts the negatives, Chief.
I have my name for minute 117 is Ellen Lichtwart. And I liked it because it's kind of like it had like a past tense thing. She's already done it.
Yeah. It's happened. Get on with it. Get past it if you can.
If you can.
She was she was the effects animators. Let's get that Lichtwart.
Yeah.
Yeah. I liked her work.
Oh, and as we get into like the beginnings of the cast at the end of this minute. And did you see who Harrison Ford is credited as?
Yeah. He's no longer Indy.
Yeah, he's Indiana Jones. He was
Yep.
Indy,
Yes.
and was he?
Yeah,
he was just plain old Indy, right?
Just Indy.
He was Indy.
in
Yeah.
Raiders, yeah.
But before we get to Harrison Ford, we get a really weird one. Is we get 2 actors billed above him.
But
We get featuring Akio Mitamura and Michael Yama,
yeah,
and they'll show up again. But it's interesting that the movie is featuring those 2, and they're the 2 Lao Che pilots. And for some reason,
kidding.
they're billed above every single other person in the credits.
Looked at that because I thought, well, Pete's nuts. He's making this up. I just looked at that. That's the craziest thing in the world.
I
bizarre.
haven't found out anywhere why that is or what happened, but
I'm looking at it right now. It says featuring, and then below their names it says cast.
yeah. I glazed over that, thinking that was some like non-cast thing.
no, it's
Boy, that's weird.
yeah.
But then they're
My
building the
God,
regular
that's
cast
weird.
like in the next minute or something.
Yeah, they're billed again in the list of cast.
Are
My
they?
God.
Yeah, so it's
Well, you can see why that they get it twice and before.
Well,
the rest of
sure,
the
but
cast.
why is
They're
it
awesome.
featuring them?
yeah. Are they like the ones that like? Did they put in a good word with Kate Capshaw for Steven Spielberg, or like what? I don't know. And it's not
God,
like
that's nuts.
I was wondering, were they in other stuff? I don't know.
That's really weird.
One of the guys was in 1941, but nothing that would make me think, oh, we're going to put these guys at the very top.
He saved Steven Spielberg's life or something.
Yeah.
Or got him out of debt or something.
Yeah, I
He
don't
owes
know.
him big time.
It's really weird.
That's really weird.
Yeah.
That is really weird.
Huh. I wonder if there's a deleted scene in the credits. Like something that could have helped us.
Yeah,
Yeah.
probably. I wonder if one of them broke Harrison Ford's back.
Yeah, featuring. Oh my God. Halfway through this minute, the music segues into Willie's theme,
Uh-huh.
and I got angry.
Oh, why?
Yeah, it made me think of Willie.
I mean, how she just disappears and we don't get to see her again?
Yeah,
You
just
miss her, don't you?
Yeah.
nah. It just went like it's like da 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 da, and I'm like, nah, I don't care. It did. Short Round's theme, although ubiquitous, I'm
Yeah.
cool with. I'm fine with that. Yeah.
It works in a lot of good ways.
Yeah.
Just way too often.
And and Willie's theme came out, and I felt no, I don't know, kinship or camaraderie or like, oh, fondness. Like, yes, Willie, I miss her already.
Yeah.
Wasn't that great when she was Willie? Like, I miss,
I miss you, Willie. Don't listen to these clowns.
That's true.
Yeah.
I miss Willie more than I ever thought I would. Let me put it that way.
And I absolutely love Willie's theme. I don't think it has anything to do with the Willie we get in the movie. I like Willie in the movie, and I like their theme, but I don't think they really necessarily go together.
That's kind of I've tried to think about that theme and like what it.
It's a very like femme fatale, film noir, 1940s, like one of those really, flowery, beautiful orchestral, wonderful scores. But it doesn't seem to fit her personality.
No.
Yeah, I agree.
No.
It's a good theme for stomping on somebody's fingers when they're trying to come up under a ladder after you.
The problem with her isn't just the theme.
Yeah.
Let me ask you guys this: if you were to pick one person in the movie whose name you would change, what would it be?
The last name we get in this minute of the credits, Chief Henchman. Because I don't think he's the chief henchman at all. Do you know who the chief henchman is? Because I didn't. I had to look him up.
No. Who's the chief? Wait, the chief henchman?
Who would you say in this movie is the chief henchman? Like, if you see that in the credits, you're like, oh, that's got to be this guy that did this. I thought it was one of the Blues Brothers, maybe, in Lao She's club.
Yeah.
Oh, God, that's a great question. Chief henchman. Well, yeah, you're right. It would be one of the Blues Brothers, but I'm sorry to say,
Philip Tan.
Is it Pat Roach?
Nope.
No.
It's the little guy throwing knives at Indy that gets the symbol in the face.
Oh, really?
That's the chief henchman. Yeah, exactly.
That's nuts.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, to be fair, I don't know what I would call that guy. Maybe knife guy, knife throwing man.
Maybe.
Yeah, or you'd call him, you'd call him Sis Boom Ba.
Symbol face.
Yeah.
Symbol face.
Crashy.
Yeah, nipple gong.
Well, I've got some, if we want some background information to how this did at the box office.
Yeah, I'd love that.
Like one question I have is, not only what do people think of the movie, but was it considered a success? And is that, because we had kind of a long break between this and the next Indiana Jones movie came out. And was it because this wasn't considered a complete success, or was it? So I was curious. The production budget for Temple of Doom was $28 million. It made $25 million on its opening weekend. So absolutely smash success. Its first week total was the highest ever of any movie in the history of motion pictures.
You're kidding.
No.
First week?
The first week was the highest first week ever. And Variety even ran a headline, Jones builds a temple of gold, because it surpassed Return of the Jedi as the highest first week. And so total domestic gross was $180 million, and worldwide total gross was $333 million. And again, that's based on a $28 million budget. So definitely, with the crowds, a smash success.
Yeah.
Nice.
With the critics, a slightly more mixed bag.
Yeah.
They were mixed, though. It wasn't what you might think. It wasn't all negative. In fact, some of the big critics, quite liked it.
Mm-hmm.
Leonard Maltin did not especially like it. He said Steven Spielberg is an extraordinarily talented filmmaker, and he's given action junkies the perfect fix. But for me, Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom is an overdose.
Huh.
So I thought that was interesting. Roger Ebert actually really liked it.
Yeah.
I like this quote: "The kind of movie where your date is always grabbing your forearm in a vice-like grip as unbearable excitement unfolds on the screen. After the movie is over, you've had a great time, but your arm is black and blue for a week." So I think we could probably sympathize with that.
Sure. I'd have to have a date
Yeah.
first.
I don't know what he's talking about.
Yeah. Here's one that you might identify with a little more, Jer. Tom McCarthy at Variety. Critical opinion is undoubtedly irrelevant for such a surefire commercial attraction as Indiana Jones, except that Spielberg is such a talented director, it's a shame to see him lose all sense of subtlety and nuance.
Oh, my God. That's amazing.
That's fair.
That's it. That's me. Because, I still like it.
Yeah. Yeah. And then one last one I was looking at, the original New York Times review from Vincent Canby. He gave it 4.5 out of 5 stars. But his review was a little more nuanced than Variety thought Spielberg's film work was. But he said, too shapeless to be the fun that Raiders is, but shape may be beside the point. Old-time 15-part movie serials didn't have shape. They just went on and on and on, which is what Indiana Jones does with humor and technical invention.
Yeah, that's it too.
He's embracing the old-time serial fun of it and saying, enjoy the ride, I think.
Yeah, that was like a lot of the debate, like kind of like that poll we put up a while ago of like, about the mine cart flying off the tracks and then just land. Is this stupid? No, come on, or is it hooray? This is crazy fun.
Yeah,
that's what the big debate was back then.
And I realize one of the reasons I think you love Temple of Doom so much, Pete, is you love that. You love campy serial 1931 stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there you go.
And surprisingly, another person that liked it was Harrison Ford.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. He said, I was fairly well pleased with the final result. It certainly was a darker story, but worth it. So
Raves Harrison Ford.
Yeah.
I didn't know he liked anything. Good for him.
For him, that's like that. That's rave review.
Yeah.
Kate Capshaw was unprepared for the negative reaction her character garnered.
Wow.
Yeah. She said she had a lot of fun doing the role and was surprised that people reacted the way they did to it. And it was nominated for 2 Academy Awards. It lost
to Gandhi.
Nope.
Oh.
Passage to India for original score. It lost.
Oh my God, the irony. Good.
That was it.
Good. I'm glad.
Passage to India and Amadeus both ran the awards that year, I think. But both good movies. The Academy Award it did win was visual effects, and it beat Ghostbusters in 2010.
Oh wow, interesting.
Yeah. And then as soon as this was over, Steven Spielberg started working on Color Purple, and George Lucas kept going with his retirement from directing.
Yeah.
Full steam ahead.
Yeah.
Full steam ahead.
But he did, within just a couple of months of this being released, had already finished his treatment of Indy 3, which was entitled Indiana Jones and the Monkey King.
All right.
Which we will get into perhaps in a special episode.
Maybe, yeah. We probably should.
Yeah.
Well, at the very end of Raiders, we debated whether or not, the ending was a happy one. Mm-hmm. And I thought that was a really good question and something we could all bite into. This is clearly, the ending of Temple Doom is clearly supposed to be a happy ending. So, I'm asking you guys, are you guys happy? I mean, it's a very, very, very different ending than Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's nothing about it that's going to stick with you.
Think about fools, bureaucratic fools.
Yeah.
That's how that ends. They don't know what they've got there.
But see, I think this is one of those, when you look at photographs of somebody on a warm, sunny summer day, and you're looking back at this photograph and you realize that they suffered some tragedy the next day. And I think that colors, at least for this movie, the end of this movie, because Shorty and Willie are just gone. After this, something befalls them that we never hear from them again.
Well, that can either be seen as tragic, or it could be seen as this movie's sort of inconsequential. It just doesn't. I know now that we don't see these people again, and so maybe it just doesn't matter or something.
But I'm curious,
like them.
Watching this in 1984, I wonder if people thought the next movie was going to have them in it. Or I wonder if people I wonder how many people realized this was a prequel, or as they called it at the time, a pre-sequel.
I think a lot of people figured that Short Round was now he was now part of the team.
I thought,
right.
I thought so too. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Well, I mean, are you guys happy or satisfied with the ending?
I mean, it's are you happy or satisfied with an ending of an episode of The Love Boat or something? It's things are wrapped up. Everybody's happy.
It's 10 o'clock.
Yeah, it's 10 o'clock. It's time to go to bed.
Yeah.
You got to get your pajamas on.
Right.
Say goodnight to your grandma.
Yeah, and then sneak back down and watch Fantasy Island.
Exactly. Oh, my God. Wait, did we live in the same house?
Yes, we did.
Does it have the same grandma? Oh, my God.
I mean, all the characters seem happy, so I guess I'm supposed to be happy.
Yeah,
Hooray.
I think it's supposed to be a happy ending.
Yeah.
Well, no, I know it is. That's what's interesting. There's not much to debate, except I'm saying, do you feel happy?
Yeah, I feel personally, I feel as much as I love so much of this movie, I feel like the ending kind of misses the mark a little bit.
You
It's
do?
a little, it's a
Yeah.
little
Yeah.
buttoned down. It's
So
a little,
a little empty for me too.
yeah.
Okay. Huh? Is it because we don't see Willie and Shorty and we don't know what happens to them, and so we're thinking like Raiders takes place like a semester and a half later? And
partially
so
that,
and these
but-
people are poof gone. Is that why it's empty for you, Pete?
It's partially that, but then it's also partially that they just tie everything up in such a neat little bow in 2 minutes.
Yeah.
You know, they
Yeah.
resolve every thread at the same time in a very sort of superficial manner.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I wish they'd ended it with him climbing up the rock.
Oh, and the movie just it ended with
Roll
him
credits.
Yeah.
right there. Yeah.
Yep.
Wow. And you know that the kids get back and
Or you always wonder, did they make
Or
it
you don't
back?
care.
Yeah, did Shorty fall off
You
the
don't
cliff?
care.
Is that why we never see him again? Who knows what happens?
Yeah. One wrong step.
Yep.
oh wait a minute, there's something coming in here.
Oh my
coming
gosh.
over the wire. Yeah.
Boop, 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 boop.
This just in from Professor Christy Porter. If Temple of Doom was a Slurpee flavor, what flavor would it be?
It'd be disgusting. It'd be like, oh, you know what though? I always come back to the monkey brains and knowing that in real life there was some sort of like strawberry custardy whip thing. So maybe it'd be some kind of like berry froth.
Like citrus cerebellum.
Yeah.
No, I'd say the Coke flavor because this is just pure caffeine.
Oh sure.
Oh wow, look at you, Pete. All right, yeah, that's pretty good. Be like bloody pineapple pulp.
There you go.
Yeah, I don't know. Bloody beetle pineapple pulp.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
One of the less popular flavors at 7-Eleven, but
Yes. It doesn't leave you entirely satisfied.
Right.
Although there's a picture of a happy bloody pineapple pulp.
But you got the huge one anyway. You got the
Yeah.
biggest size you could.
Yeah, you got the
And you gotta
biggest size
finish
you could, and it's got the date on it, like summer.
well, if somebody wants to join us for a Slurpee Tom for one last Slurpee for our last evening before our last show of the season, what would you recommend?
Oh, I recommend they meet us at the nearest 7-Eleven and call us on the phone, and then we'll just talk to each other while we get a Slurpee in our own, neighborhood 7-Elevens. Or, if you want to be really virtual about it, you can just join us at Indiana Jones Minute and the Listeners Crusade on Facebook, which is our group there where you and all your listener friends get together with us and you chat about Raiders and Temple of Doom and Indiana Jones and all the fun things that they bring up in our lives. And it's awesome.
Please do that, and please join us back here tomorrow one more time for Temple of Doom here on the Indiana Jones Minute.
Gary!
Licked wart.
Wait, what'd you say?
Licked wart.